All right, so welcome. This is the new C space, currently in renovations, and we're happy to be here. We are moved out of our much smaller area, and this is the first time I'm here, but true say I was not expecting it to be this big. I got lost at least 2 times already.
On the way here too. Yep, everybody got lost. I got lost.
Right?
Agreed. Mm-hmm. I had to be calling for directions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Olivia was the designated direction giver.
That's right. I was the GPS. And
that never responded.
But I had to, find myself.
I mean, because we don't have the internet in the place yet, so sometimes you can't respond.
Exactly.
Right? That is expensive up in the north side. Mm-hmm. All right, but all in all, so I'm new. So some of you guys are already at the old space, right? Now you guys have a lot more space. What are you guys trying to do with it? What are you guys looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to our own social support office. I can't wait to see what it looks like. I can't wait to see the splash of color, the design, even our coaching room. I'm looking forward to our coaching room and really I can't wait to bring our members in and, enjoy the space and enjoy each other.
I can't lie, I'm looking forward to the kitchen. Why? Because I think it's just going to be nice to socialize with everyone, get to know people on a more personal level over lunchtime. So I'm really looking forward to the kitchen.
And there's actually space in the kitchen. The last kitchen I was in, it looked like a box. It was like one empty box of floor space and then just things up on the wall.
A bigger kitchen.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm looking forward towards the coaching room as well to see what that looks like. I'm having that our members comfortable as we have those very intimate and touching conversation with them. And of course, and I hope we have a good enough boardroom here where we can have all the members, but we're having some events so we don't have to go outside. And a big enough space that we can have our regular work get together. Who knows?
Right? That's right.
When we're having our potlucks, right?
Yes,
The potluck,
of course.
yes.
Wait,
Of course.
Okay, good. No worry, we have Pepto-Bismol.
Because I bring Kamaki and Saltfish. Kamaki and Saltfish is nice.
I've never had it.
If it's canned, please do not.
You never had
So you're gonna fly over and bring some fresh.
Of course.
All right, if you can do that for me, I'll pick it. I know how to pick it. I know how to clean your blood.
If it's not Aki from the tree, do not take it.
All right.
Not even from the can? I mean, it still goes in the same way.
It's the look. It says everything.
I get it. When you pick Aki off the tree, it feels different, right? But
It tastes different.
It tastes different too. But I can't fly to Jamaica every time I want a piece of Aki.
So you go to Danforth Market and you get the can. Okay, come on now. You see a can?
Aki, bro.
Am I outnumbered here?
I think
Yes.
so.
Okay.
I concede.
All right, whatever. This is a really good segue point for us to talk about our next point of subject, which is the differences between first generation Canadians, second generation immigrants who have come over here who are born from our next place, right? And then they drop over from foreign and come here, right? Do you guys see the differences in mindset, personality, just how we move through our space, right?
There is a significant difference. I'm going to touch on something as simple as resilience. I speak from a Jamaican born where you're taught to be rough and you're just, it's in our culture to be strong. I find that second generation or first generation Caribbean persons, they don't have that level of resilience. They tend to be more Canadianized and it's not a bad thing or neither is it a good thing. It's just a difference that I have noticed because in one sense, you could say that us being resilient is also masking certain things where we don't address certain things like mental health and stuff like that. So we are taught to be tough in order to mask that and showing it is being weak. But here you learn to acknowledge it and embrace it. So that is a major difference I've seen in terms of resilience among our people.
Even building off of that point, I feel like we've seen in our cohort quite a few times we have to be like, don't worry, you can speak. Because I feel like that's a main difference between immigrants, you know what I mean? And people back home. It's like when you're young, it's like, let the old folks speak on certain topics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why are you in that respect? Exactly. Business. You don't know your place as a child. Even too, when we're speaking up and being vocal as first generations,
It's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
We got chat too.
Exactly.
Am I one of your little friends? And it's not that. We're not being disrespectful, but we're being vocal, right? We're being open-minded. We're trying to put a different spin to a situation.
We're advocating for
We're
ourselves.
advocating for
Very
ourselves.
well.
We're using our autonomy, our voice. So I don't think it's disrespectful, but the old heads, so our Caribbean folks and African parents will be like, it's disrespect.
But you know what? I feel like over there it takes you far.
Yeah.
But over here that doesn't work. Like
It doesn't
you have
work.
to
You
really
need to speak up.
advocate for yourself.
You have to
and
use
speak
your
up,
voice
or
to
else-
get into certain spaces.
Exactly.
You got to use your voice to get a raise. You got
Yes.
anytime
To
you
be
want.
respected.
To
Exactly.
be respected, yeah.
And I think it's very easy to kind of bottle up your feelings and just kind of being like, all right,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
all right.
The Caribbean thing.
Exactly. I want to kiss teeth and walk away.
Also, while that is true, but it also has its value back home from a Caribbean perspective where children knew their place.
Yeah.
Right.
They knew their line. They couldn't be disrespectful because the truth is that children will push your button as adults.
Yeah.
So it's in our culture that we teach them to be mindful. Yeah, but I can see the difference and see that.
And I think maybe the halfway point is a lot of, at least my parents, would, threaten my siblings, because they didn't threaten me because I was a good child, with sending them back home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
And there's power in that. And I don't think it should be a threat. I think you should actually send your children back home. Because when you see the difference between how people are living in one spot versus how people are living over yassa, right? You start feeling a little more happy that you have clean drinking water, right? Last time I went down to Jamaica, water was locked off for half the week, right?
When was that and where were you?
I was in Portmore. They were going through a drought, right? So half the week, you had running water. When that came, everybody was gung ho, we're collecting buckets, And then you know what happened when the thing was off? My sisters is out here using a whole bucket of water at the shower, and we're sitting there like, excuse me, you didn't catch no water. You were out here chilling.
But that is what it goes back to the point where when you're from the Caribbean and you are exposed to that culture, it brings this level of toughness, mental toughness that is lacking in the generations that are born here. I would consider that the privilege that they get, the privilege, because growing up as a child, I remember I had to carry water. I had to walk miles to school. I had one pair of shoes that here, children just don't know what it is like to even.
But do children not have the same experience here? Depending also to their upbringing, their neighborhood, their community.
But generally speaking, but if you should even look at it in context, from a Caribbean background, what you considered hardship there, Jane and Finch is like almost a Portmore in Jamaica.
Exactly.
And
Poverty is relative from country to country. Right? Because
Yes.
I grew up in poverty in Canada. Right?
There you go.
But if you take my same living standards and you drop me in Jamaica, right, I'm at least middle class.
Yeah, you're middle class, so you have to look at it in context.
Yeah. I think what I appreciate is the balance between both. Because yes, there is definitely the privilege. And I recognize that even for myself, like talking to my cousins and my brother, we have different realities because when you look at him, he's a little bit more traditional, even in the way he speaks and how he communicates with my parents, all of that. And then there's me who I came here when I was 8. And so most of my experiences or most of my life has been in Canada. So my outlook in life is completely different. But I think having my parents around, they still instilled a lot of those values of hard work in me. So I have a little bit of a balance where it's I get it, I have privilege and I recognize it, but then I also have that respect for just everything, for my life, for the experiences, and I don't take it for granted. So I think I see that sometimes in some of our youth as well. I think that they recognize that even with just the fact that you are Black in general, they recognize that there is privilege. And they do appreciate just everything that's around them. They appreciate the work. They appreciate even the programs. There's a level of appreciation. I see that for sure.
Definitely.
You're definitely right about your parents instilling things on you, because both my parents are from Jamaica and both of them, they weeded stuff into me. but like, how do we ensure that we're keeping those lessons passed on to the next ones?
One of the things that I'm not even so much concerned so much of losing our culture, because with culture, it changes and dynamics over years. What was acceptable 10 years ago may not be acceptable today. So I think we more should be teaching our kids, our children, the values that are life lessons that they will take with them wherever they go. It's not so much preserving like the ackee and saltfish per se, but understanding the value of that ackee and saltfish, understand what it means to be Jamaican. When you say you're Jamaican, when you say you're from Trinidad, what does that mean for you? So can we have those are the conversations we should maybe concentrating on and passing on those values. What does it mean to be Caribbean? What does it mean to be Jamaican? What does it mean? Instead of saying, okay, you need to make sure that you wear your black, green, and gold. No. It's more the value that we're passing on.
I agree with that.
Adding on to that as well, like for me, like I'm proudly Malian, West African, you know what I mean? And I always tell people, the funny thing about my family is like, yeah, we're in Canada, okay, cool. But the moment you step into my household, there's not Canada anymore. You know what I mean? Exactly. And I think that's an important way of also passing it on is like, you already know that everywhere outside of your household, it's Canada. You know, when they go to school, they get socialized. It's Canadian socializing, right? So when you're coming home, you know, play your own music. You know what I'm saying? Tell them your history. You know what I mean? Things like that. So that they can also pass it on. So I know, of course, like, I don't have the same knowledge and, you know, ties to my culture as my parents, as immigrants. But of course, like I have at least certain things I can pass on to my kids. And that's super important. So that's the values, but it's also, you know, the things that are great about us. You know what I mean? So
even some of the stuff like the Dutch pot. Hey, I'm taking that with me.
When you say that, guys, the 1, 2, 3.
You know, the known Dutch pot. Listen, that was my grandmother's. It's my mother's. Shoot, I might just take it when I'm moving out. Hey, yeah, that's the stuff you carry with you, right? And it's just, it's embedded in you, and it's just like a part of your identity. Like honestly, I'm grateful when people come over to my house. They're like, this wall unit. Why is there so much crockery? And I'm like, wow, like I'm Jamaican. Like, what do you mean? And they're like, get rid of it. I'm like, get rid of it. I'm like, these are riches. What am I getting rid of that for? So it's just like, even just customs, beliefs, just our traditions. I don't think that will ever go away. Yes, culture changes, but it's gonna always be within you.
I rate the Dutch pot. Because my partner just moved out of their house for the first time, and watching their dad like cook the Dutch pot for them.
Yes.
And I was like, this is a symbol. This is like it's a whole ritual. It's a whole ritual. Like I'm sending you on your way. Like I really like that.
You don't only just throw the kalaloo in there and whatever, but like it's symbolic of our family tradition and our roots. And you know, that's stuff that we should always
and reality, it cooks the food much better.
What's an air fryer?
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, the other day my sisters and I got an air fryer, and I know my Jamaican mom and grandma, they're just looking like this.
They give you the dirty look, right?
Yes, dirty look.
Not impressed.
Yes, they're not impressed. They probably don't want the food from me, but it's like, hey, it's efficient, it's quick, like especially if I'm going to work.
It's that mixture though, right?
It's that mixture.
you know, a hybrid, a cultural hybrid.
A cultural hybrid. I
A
like
Dutch
that.
pot, you can make whatever you need in a Dutch pot. Right? And you can have that Dutch pot for 10, 20, 30, 40 years.
Even when it loses its color, it's still good.
Exactly.
But also in terms of us preserving our culture, one other thing that I believe we should strongly do as parents when we have our children is to take them back home at some point. I've met persons who are born here who have never been home. And I look at them and say, are you for real? So there is that loss. Some persons come here and it's literally like they have turned their backs on home.
Oh my, that brings me to a super big point too. I feel like even on top of just like going for visits, like spend real time there. You know what I mean? Like people go for like a few weeks. Like
And that's, we're not talking about the hotels visit. We're talking about going there in the community.
with your family.
Like live down there for a little bit, right? Because that's different.
Too, like not just like money, but just invest genuinely. Learn your culture. Like
I can remember, and at that point, I remember when my cousins came to Jamaica for the first time. Oh my God, that little boy was climbing trees. It's like, it's a total different kid when he's here. He's like literally, we'd call them Lego beasts back home. That you would never believe he's a Canadian-born child. The way he was climbing the trees, eating the mangoes.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
exposure is different. It's
he
different.
loved it.
Yeah.
He talked about it as his best trip ever. He wants to go back.
Can we even talk about the food? The food in Jamaica versus the food here? Ooh, you can taste the difference. Even the KFC.
Let us not even go there.
If you don't know about KFC in Jamaica yet, you're not supposed to know. That's the thing. I'm not gonna expose that to you. But if you go to Jamaica, you should be going to KFC at least one time.
Yeah.
Right?
There are two things that you have to eat when you go home. Besides the regular tradition, you have to eat the patty.
Yes, even the patty's
I would
different.
love to try that.
The taste patty, you have to have that.
The patties here, it has air in it. Why does it have air? Like when you go home, the patties are bigger. Like you can actually taste the
So that means I haven't really tasted a real patty.
Also, let me tell you about how many different kinds of patties is over there. So, Zian, I love myself a Callaloo patty, and I can't find a Callaloo patty over there.
I didn't even know they existed.
You have shrimp patty, you have Maggi patty.
Yes.
Everything that you can think of go between that.
Literally just been
Okay.
You have
Beef, vegetarian, and chicken. I've never
I'm
known.
telling you, you have ackee tart, you have plantain tart. Ooh.
Okay.
Just
telling-
name
So I
it.
need to take
You
a trip to
name it.
Jamaica.
No,
Yeah.
taking notes right here.
Yeah, you know?
Taking the notes.
Get
taking
some
the notes.
breadfruit, right?
Yeah.
Listen,
Even the breadfruit here, what is it?
Don't even bother to talk about it. Please, can we not talk about food?
As you can see, we haven't eaten lunch yet. So all in all, thank you all for taking the time to actually sit here and talk with us, right? I really like getting the idea and the vibe that is CEE, and hearing from the people who work there really help give that a real genuine message. Zine, because you guys are working way harder than anybody else, and no one that will ever be able to see you, right? And I'm just here trying to spread the word to everybody else, right? So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You know we love to talk, so
Yes.
Yeah. Any opportunity to talk about the good old days and what the future looks like.
What does the
welcome.
future look like?
Yeah, what does the future look like for CEE?
Well, what does the future look like?
growth.
Growth,
sure.
endless possibilities.
We have CEE Toronto, so I'm thinking CEE
Canada.
Canada, you know?
You know what I mean?
Huge
Canada,
expansion.
100%. Yeah. Because the work needs to be done, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
it's more than just Toronto, it's Canada, it's internationally. It's
Yeah.
right now, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of job markets that we can be putting our people in there.
Absolutely.
Right.
The opportunity that lies ahead is limitless, in my opinion. The challenges that Black youths face, universal. So that means that once there is a Black community somewhere, that means that we have a part of the world to impact. So
Right.
that's how I look at it. Where we go wherever we are called.
Yes.
Absolutely.
As Jesus said in Matthew, to go and preach the word, we are taking CEE to the world
All right.
to save our
Nice.
Black youths.
Yes. We're taking over. Yes.
And it was from scripture? That's how you do it properly.
Yes. Pastor Marie Roberts.
Hallelujah.